All right, Jim. Again, this is Jim Houghton. He's our Director of Finance.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm going to provide you the fiscal year 2024 financial update. Most of this information will be through January 31st of 2024. Let's start off. This is the general fund. We have a budget right now of $391.6 million. Current revenues, $276.2 million. Current expenses at $236.3 million. As you can see, revenues are quite a bit higher than expenses, truly driven by property taxes. Those bills are due in January, and most of them have come in January, so that's why that revenue is a little bit higher now than the expense side. This is high level. Commissioners, if you have any questions anytime, please stop me and let me know. So let's talk about the 5 major revenue sources. The first one being the property taxes. We have a budget of $234.5 million, which includes real, personal, public, which is utilities, and vehicle taxes. Collections as of January 31st are at $221.6 million. We're estimating our collection rate for the year to be at 99+%, which it has been for the last few years. And we're estimating the property tax revenue for fiscal year 2024 to be at $235 million. Here's a look at property taxes over the past 5 years. You can see back in 2020 to 2021 was our last reval and the increase there. And each year after, we've had increases. And again, we're looking at this year to be in around $235 million. Last year was at $229.5 million. Oops. Sales tax, which to me is the interesting one of all this. We have a budget of $73 million for fiscal year 2024. Collections through the first 6 months, we're going to estimate will be at $75 million for the year, which of course is a $2 million over budget. That is a slight decrease from where we were last year at this time. Last year at this time, we were 10% higher than we were in 2022. This year's sales tax over last year's sales tax is pretty much flat. So as you can see, the first 6 months, the first 3 months, we were doing pretty good. We were above last year and the previous years. October, November, December were all decreases from the prior year. And what this slide shows is this year, I'm projecting $75 million. Last year, we were at $76.7 million. So a slight decrease. Now, it is above budget. We did budget conservatively. We did worry a little bit that the sales tax bump that we had been getting the last few years in the double digits percentage-wise was not going to happen. And at least as of right now, it looks like it's not going to happen unless something great happens the last 6 months of the year. Our other 3 big major revenue fee categories, ambulance fees, register of deeds, construction standards, all of these are being projected to be over budget. As you can see, ambulance fees, we budgeted 7.5. We're currently at 5.6 and projected $9.5 million by year end. Register of deeds, $3.2 million budget. We're at $2 million. We're projecting 3.4. And construction standards, $4.8 million budget. As of January 2024, we're at $3.5 million. We're projecting $6 million by the end of the fiscal year. How each of these look over the last 4 years. Ambulance construction standards, of course, are going up year over year. Register of deeds is down, which is really driven by interest rates, is a big factor. There's fewer refinances, which recording those transactions is a lot lower than what it was back when the interest rate was low. So with that said, our major revenues for 2024 right now, I'm looking at about $5 million over budget if we continue the current trend. Yeah, 5.9 over budget. (2024) expenditures. Again, high level capital purchases, which vehicles, equipment, technology. Through January, we're at 76.3% of budget either spent or encumbered. Last year, we were roughly at 70%. Of course, all of our debt, transfer to other funds, and education expenditures are anticipated to be budget, and that is common. We budget those fairly well. Salary and benefits are currently at $62.2 million. Estimate will be roughly $8 million under our $126.7 annual budget for benefits, salary and benefits. Of course, lapsed salaries, timing of new hires is what drives this. So with that said, on expenditures, 21, 22, and 23, we spent roughly 95%, 92%, and 90% of our budget for each of those years. With where we're sitting right now, I'm projecting that we'll spend about 95% of our budget by the time fiscal year is over. And as I said, very high level, brief. I'm glad to take any questions.
Jim, you might be going to cover this later, but we're over on revenue, under on expenses. So what does our policy indicate that surplus that arrives from that, and where does that go?
If we end the year with a surplus, well, of course, we'll evaluate what that fund balance is. Some of that would be restricted or committed or assigned, and we wouldn't be able to touch that. If there's extra left over, we can take anything beyond 15% of our next year's budget, expenditure budget, and transfer that to the Community Investment Fund for future capital projects.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, certainly I would look at that as an incentive to keep expenses down, and hopefully if you have an income surplus, and that helps us fund any capital projects, which could be schools, could be other county projects, things of that nature.
Yes, sir.
And historically, how much have we been transferring to that account each year? So I feel like it's been about 30 to 40
I
million.
think the last 2 years have been around the $30 million mark.
Right. Okay.
I think right now, based on what I'm projecting, and again, a lot could change between now and June, would be more in the $20 million range.
Okay. And now, this isn't necessarily a question for you, but all of this information that we're seeing here, are we going to get copies of this? It wasn't attached in our agenda that we got emailed to, so I would like to have copies of this. Right, and not just this, not just your presentation. Yeah, that's why I said this probably is a question for you. But who? Yeah. All right. I don't know. I can't see her. But... Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. If not, I can email you one. We'll get you one. That's all I got. 18.